So when you talk about tough wrestlers, Haku, Harley Race, Arn Anderson, those are three of legitimate like dudes who would go to bars and just beat up the locals. Like just beat them up. Well, because people will come up to them.
I just still like, as someone that likes to go to bars and stuff like that, even in my drunkest stupor, I can't imagine going up to someone like that and be like, "Hey,"
because your brain
what's
works.
up?
Your brain works.
Like, you cannot be thinking.
But
literally
on the other side, so here's the story. So when I had my Carolina Panther show, and I'm living in Charlotte, of course, literally my next door neighbor was Ric Flair. So, but he and I met when I was in college because he was dating my roommate's girlfriend. Interesting story, right? To find out that your roommate's girlfriend is one of Ric Flair's traveling side girls. Like, which we almost got into a fight the night I met Ric Flair because my roommate decided he wanted to fight Ric Flair. And Ric Flair negated it by saying, just come party with us, you'll understand. Fast forward to 10 years later, 12 years later, I moved to Charlotte, doing a TV show with the Panthers. I pull in Ric Flair. It turns out he's my neighbor. He's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, what are you doing here? I asked him to be on my Panthers show. And I did the thing that every dumb guy would do. And he's like, well, do you want to do a sit-down interview or do you want to, like, I'm like, no, we got to do this in ring. Like, we want to do this in ring. And I had this, my videographer, Sheila, who, whenever I did a remote shoot, Sheila was the camera person who would come and handle it. And she's meeting me there and she's just laughing because she's like, he's in a mood. I'm like, when is he not? So we get in the ring and he's showing, we're just talking at first, right? And I did the thing that I know better. Like, I know better than doing this.
But then why'd you do it?
Because I'm stupid, Jay Foreman. I was young and look.
You just wanted to feel it.
Well, you want to, because there's two things you want from Ric Flair. You want the figure, you want him to put you in the figure four. And then Ric Flair does this chop.
Yeah, I didn't want any either. I just wanted you to get it cracking.
So he said, well, he did the woo, but then so I wanted to feel the turnbuckle. So he threw me into the turnbuckle, and then Sheila gets up on the edge, and she's got the camera like 3 feet from me. And Flair, he goes, "You ready?" And I'm like, "Ready." And so he goes, "So I'll drape your arms over the ropes, so your chest is kind of expanded and exposed." And he goes, "You ready?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "You sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And Ric Flair gave me a backhanded, and he's got the meatiest.
Yeah, he got the meat hooks.
He got meat hook hands. And Flair hits me across the chest. Now, I want to tell you, when people talk about surreal, where your soul leaves your body and then looks back at your body and what's going on, because there was no wind in my lungs. There was none. And then there was a sting that was starting to take place where I could feel the whelp start to grow on my chest. And he says to me, "Are you good?" And in my head, I'm going, hell no. But what came out my mouth was yes. And he goes, "Do you want another one?" And everything. And here's the thing. I look over at Sheila, and she's looking at me like, "God, man, please say no. Please say no." And I'm like, yes.
He got caught up in the moment.
Hey, Jay, I was like the old TV commercial where the Indian chief has one tear running down the side of his face. And I had the one tear running, and she's like, "Okay." And Flair unleashes a second one. And I'm telling you, my legs left my body.
That's on you, because at least you got one, and then he asked if somebody asked me twice, "Are you ready?" No, then no.
Well, that's the joke, right?
Good.
No,
that's the joke, right?
Well, since you asked again, I'm never ready. Let's do something else.
Well, that's the joke, right? Well, what do you tell a man with two black eyes? Nothing, because you've already told him twice. Like, and I want to tell you that I was blue and purple from my collarbone to my ribs for 3 weeks.
At what age did you really realize that wrestling was fake? I was heartbroken.
I didn't know. Well, college.
Yeah, my dad broke my heart.
College.
Hey, man,
Thought it was real?
College.
Oh, I thought it was real. I ran into his room one time, and it was right when it was, I think, on Sundays. So WWF, I think, only played on Saturdays, and so I'd wait all day for NWA wrestling, and then they had like the Texas wrestling with the Von Erichs, but the NWA was the one on Sundays, right? It
Yeah.
was down there on like Georgia and all
Yeah.
that. So somebody had won the title or something. You know what I'm saying? And I remember I came upstairs and, you know, it was like, Dad, it woke him up from a nap. You know what I mean? I'll never forget this. And I was like, hey, so-and-so, you know, just got beat. Explain him. He looked at me. He said, boy, don't you know that stuff is fake? Heart was broken.
I didn't know.
It was just like finding out Santa ain't real.
So
Hey.
freshman year of college.
Right? Yeah. Right.
He is, but yes, freshman year of college. So the whole story with Ric Flair was, I'm from Northern Virginia. We didn't get Mid-Atlantic wrestling. We didn't get that until I got to college. And my roommate, who was from Roanoke, pure country boy, he was all in. And so he was like, well, hey, don't think I'm weird, but I want to go to the wrestling match at Richmond Coliseum. Do you want to go? And I'm like, well, I don't know none of the dudes. He goes, Ric Flair's wrestling. I'm like, I'm in. And the feature was Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes. Now, we could walk from our dorm to the Richmond Coliseum. And we're walking down it, and right across the street from our dorm in Richmond was a 7-Eleven convenience store. So we went in to get a beer to walk to the stadium, down to the arena with.
Coliseum.
We walk up to the parking lot, and in pulls this Lincoln Continental. And it is loud and it is bumping. Out walks Dusty Rhodes. And me and Kip, my buddy's name's Kip, that's whose girlfriend Rick was dating. We lost our minds. This is the greatest day ever. Hey, we're going to go watch you wrestle. And then the other door opens, and it's Ric Flair. And I'm like, it was like the record scratch. I'm like, y'all are supposed to be fighting tonight.
Yeah, you didn't realize that they were buddies.
Y'all are supposed to be fighting tonight. And then Flair, in peace, right? He comes up, gets a sip of beer, reaches in his pocket, grabs some tickets. They're front row seats. He goes, come hang with us in the front row. We get down to the Coliseum. We're pumped, right? Beer guys shows up and says, the guys in the back said, send it. We're supposed to give you a beer every match. This is the greatest night ever. The only way I got invited was because Kip's girlfriend had something else to do, so she couldn't go with him. We get to the front row. We get our beer. I look across the ring, and directly across the ring in the front row is Kip's girlfriend, who is there as Ric Flair's date.
Dang.
So my introduction to it, heartbroken and everything else. We'll throw it a break because we run a show. Look, we threw a whole show together. Throw away. We'll get Jay's pick for Thursday Night Football when we come back.